Chapter 1, Introduction. The morning sun cast a golden glow over the tranquil ocean, its rays reflecting off the waves like shimmering diamonds. The Sea Voyager, a sturdy vessel with years of exploration etched into its wooden hull, gently rocked in the calm waters. On board, the crew bustled with the energy of a new adventure, unaware of the fate that awaited them. Captain Marcus Hayes, a seasoned sailor with a weathered face and piercing blue eyes, stood at the helm, his gaze fixed on the horizon. Beside him was his first mate, Samuel Sam Thompson, a younger man with a quick mind and a knack for navigation. They had been through countless voyages together, but this one felt different, both thrilling and foreboding. "All systems check, Captain," Sam reported, scanning the charts and instruments. "We're on course for the uncharted region south of the Bermuda Triangle." Captain Hayes nodded, his mind racing with the possibilities that lay ahead. "Good. Keep a steady hand, Sam. We don't know what we'll find out there, but we need to be prepared for anything." Below deck, the rest of the crew prepared for the journey. Maria Sanchez, the ship's engineer, tinkered with the engine, ensuring everything was in working order. Her long, dark hair was tied back in a practical braid, and her hands moved with practiced precision. "How's it looking, Maria?" asked Ethan Ward, the ship's medic and resident scientist, his curiosity always piqued by the unknown. Maria glanced up, a smirk playing on her lips. "As good as it gets, Ethan. Just keep your medical kit ready in case things get rough." Ethan chuckled, adjusting his glasses. "Always. Though I hope we won't need it." Up on deck, Lily Turner, the ship's cook and morale booster, handed out cups of steaming coffee. Her cheerful demeanor and quick wit made her a favorite among the crew. "Drink up, lads and ladies," she said with a grin. "Nothing like a good cup of coffee to start an adventure." The crew gathered, their spirits high as they sipped the hot beverage. The camaraderie among them was palpable, a bond forged through shared experiences and the promise of new discoveries. As the morning progressed, the Sea Voyager sailed further into the open ocean. The crew settled into their routines, each person performing their duties with the ease that came from years at sea. The ship cut through the water, leaving a foamy trail in its wake, as if eager to uncover the secrets of the deep. Captain Hayes kept a watchful eye on the horizon, his thoughts drifting to the legends and myths surrounding the Bermuda Triangle. Tales of lost ships, vanished crews, and unexplained phenomena had always intrigued him. Now, he and his crew were venturing into those very waters, driven by curiosity and the hope of uncovering the truth. The day passed uneventfully, the sea remaining calm and the skies clear. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting an orange glow over the water, the crew gathered for dinner in the mess hall. Lily's cooking, a comforting stew, filled the air with a savory aroma. To the unknown, Sam toasted, raising his mug of ale. "May we find what we seek and return to tell the tale." The crew echoed his sentiment, clinking their mugs together. As they ate and talked, the sense of anticipation grew. They were on the brink of something extraordinary, and though they couldn't yet fathom the depths of their journey, they felt ready to face whatever lay ahead. After dinner, Captain Hayes called a meeting in the captain's quarters. The senior officers gathered around the table, maps and charts spread out before them. "Tomorrow, we'll enter the uncharted region," Hayes began, his voice steady. "We'll need to be on high alert. This area is known for its strange occurrences, and we must be prepared for anything." Sam nodded. "We've got the best crew and a solid ship, Captain. Whatever we encounter, we'll face it together." The meeting continued late into the night, plans and contingencies discussed in detail. By the time the crew retired to their bunks, a sense of purpose and determination had settled over them. They knew the risks, but the promise of discovery outweighed their fears. As the Sea Voyager sailed through the night, the ocean around them remained calm, almost eerily so. The stars above twinkled like distant beacons, guiding them towards the unknown. In the quiet darkness, Captain Hayes stood on deck, the cool breeze ruffling his hair. He gazed out at the endless expanse of water, a sense of anticipation and trepidation coursing through him. What secrets did the deep hold? And what fate awaited them beneath the waves? Only time would tell. Chapter 2, The Storm and the Disappearance. As dawn broke, a heavy, oppressive atmosphere settled over the Sea Voyager. The clear skies of the previous day were replaced by thick, dark clouds that loomed ominously on the horizon. The air felt charged, as if the ocean itself was holding its breath. Captain Hayes stood on the deck, his eyes scanning the sky. He felt a knot of unease tightening in his stomach. "Sam, keep a close watch on those clouds. We might be heading into a storm." Sam nodded, his face serious. "Aye, Captain. I'll alert the crew." The crew moved with a sense of urgency, securing loose equipment and preparing the ship for rough weather. Maria double-checked the engine, ensuring it was ready to withstand the strain of turbulent seas. Ethan distributed first aid supplies and offered reassuring words to the more nervous crew members. By midday, the sky had darkened further, and the wind began to pick up, whipping the waves into frothy peaks. The Sea Voyager creaked and groaned as it rode the rising swells. "Captain, the storm's moving in fast," Sam reported, his voice barely audible over the howling wind. "We need to batten down and brace for impact." Hayes nodded, his jaw set. "All hands, prepare for the storm. Secure yourselves and stay below deck unless absolutely necessary." The crew scrambled to follow his orders, tying down equipment and securing themselves in the safest parts of the ship. The first raindrops splattered against the deck, quickly turning into a torrential downpour. The sea, once calm and inviting, transformed into a raging beast, waves crashing violently against the hull. Captain Hayes gripped the wheel, his knuckles white with the effort. The ship lurched and pitched, each wave threatening to capsize it. Lightning streaked across the sky, illuminating the chaotic scene in stark, brief flashes. Thunder roared, drowning out the shouts of the crew. Below deck, the atmosphere was tense. Maria clung to a handrail, her eyes squeezed shut as the ship bucked and rolled. Ethan crouched next to her, his medical kit at the ready. "We'll get through this," he said, more to reassure himself than her. Lily, ever the optimist, tried to keep spirits up despite the fear gnawing at her insides. "Just another storm, right? We faced worse." Hours passed in a nightmarish blur. The storm showed no signs of abating, its fury relentless. The Sea Voyager was tossed about like a toy, the crew struggling to maintain control and stay safe. The noise was deafening, a constant cacophony of wind, rain, and the groaning of the ship. Suddenly, a massive wave surged towards them, towering over the ship like a dark, liquid mountain. "Brace yourselves!" Hayes shouted, but his voice was lost in the maelstrom. The wave crashed down with devastating force, sending the ship spinning. The world became a whirl of water and darkness as the Sea Voyager was engulfed. When the wave receded, the ship was battered and listing dangerously. Captain Hayes struggled to his feet, disoriented but determined. "Sam! Maria! Report!" There was no answer. Panic surged through him as he stumbled through the chaos, searching for his crew. Below deck, he found Ethan unconscious, a nasty gash on his forehead. Maria was slumped nearby, dazed but alive. "Maria, can you hear me?" She blinked, trying to focus. Captain? What happened?" "The storm hit us hard. We need to find the others and see what damage we've sustained." They moved through the wreckage, finding Sam and Lily in similar states of disarray. The ship was in bad shape, and it was clear they needed to act fast to avoid sinking. Working together, they managed to stabilize the vessel, but the storm continued to rage. As night fell, the storm finally began to weaken, its ferocity spent. Exhausted and battered, the crew regrouped on the deck, assessing the damage. The Sea Voyager had survived, but just barely. "We're not out of this yet," Captain Hayes said, his voice hoarse but resolute. "We need to find our bearings and figure out where we are." Sam checked the navigation instruments, his brow furrowed. "Captain, the instruments are acting strange. I can't get a clear reading on our position." Hayes frowned. "Keep trying. We need to know where we've been swept to." The crew worked through the night, repairing what they could and trying to regain their bearings. As dawn approached, the storm finally broke, leaving behind a calm but eerie stillness. Sam approached the captain, his face pale. "Captain, I think you need to see this." Hayes followed him to the edge of the deck, looking out at the horizon. What he saw made his blood run cold. There, in the distance, was a faint, glowing light beneath the water, a light that seemed to beckon them deeper into the unknown. Chapter 3: The Mysterious Underwater City. As the dawn light filtered through the dissipating clouds, the crew of the Sea Voyager gathered on deck, their eyes fixed on the eerie globe beneath the water. The storm had left them battered and disoriented, but the strange light seemed to offer both a mystery and a glimmer of hope. Captain Hayes, his face stern and focused, addressed his crew. "We're in uncharted waters, both literally and figuratively. That light might be our only lead. We need to investigate." Sam, still pale from the ordeal, nodded. "Agreed, Captain. I'll prepare the diving equipment." Maria, ever the engineer, added, "I'll check the submersible. If it's operational, it could give us a closer look without putting anyone at risk." As the crew worked to ready their equipment, the ship's deck buzzed with a mix of anxiety and anticipation. Lily handed out flasks of hot tea, her usual cheer subdued but present. "Stay sharp, everyone. Whatever's down there, we'll face it together." With preparations complete, Captain Hayes, Sam, and Maria descended in the submersible, leaving Ethan and Lily to monitor from the ship. The small vessel slipped beneath the surface, the water quickly enveloping them in a blue-green twilight. The descent was smooth, the submersible's lights cutting through the darkness. As they approached the source of the glow, a vast structure began to take shape. What first appeared as a shimmering anomaly soon revealed itself as an intricate, sprawling city, illuminated by bioluminescent flora and strange, glowing crystals embedded in the architecture. "Unbelievable," Maria whispered, her eyes wide with awe. "This city, it must be centuries old, at least." Captain Hayes steered the submersible closer, the details of the city coming into sharper focus. The buildings were made of a material that seemed both organic and artificial, their designs flowing and fluid, unlike anything they had ever seen. Statues of unfamiliar beings adorned the plazas, their features elegant and otherworldly. Sam's voice broke the silence. "Look at those markings on the buildings. They look like some sort of ancient script." "Let's not get too close," Hayes cautioned. "We don't know if the city's inhabitants are friendly, or if there are any left." As if in response to his words, a shadow moved in the distance. Hayes adjusted the submersible's course, bringing them face to face with a group of figures. They were humanoid, but their features were strikingly different: elongated limbs, translucent skin, and eyes that glowed with an inner light. One of the figures approached the submersible, its movements slow and deliberate. The crew inside held their breath as the being placed a hand on the submersible's window, peering inside with a mixture of curiosity and caution. Captain Hayes activated the submersible's external speaker. "We come in peace. We are explorers from the surface world." The being tilted its head, seemingly processing the information. Then, with a graceful motion, it beckoned them to follow. "Looks like we've been invited," Sam said, a note of excitement in his voice. The submersible followed the being through the city's winding pathways, passing more inhabitants who watched them with interest. They finally arrived at a large, central structure, ornate and imposing. The being gestured for them to enter. Inside, they were greeted by an elder, distinguished by elaborate garments and an air of authority. The elder spoke, their voice resonating through the water in melodic tones. To the crew's amazement, a device in the elder's hand began translating their words into English. "Welcome, surface dwellers. I am Leora, the leader of Aquarian. We have observed your kind for many years, but direct contact is rare. Why have you come to our domain?" Captain Hayes stepped forward, his tone respectful. "We were caught in a storm and brought here by chance. We seek only to understand and to find our way home." Leora nodded, a hint of a smile on their lips. "Your arrival was foretold in our ancient texts. The storm you encountered was no ordinary tempest, but a passage to our world, open only to those deemed worthy." The crew exchanged astonished glances. "A passage? What do you mean?" Maria asked. Leora gestured for them to sit, and the elder began to recount the history of Aquarian. The city had been founded millennia ago by a civilization that sought refuge from the surface world's turmoil. They had harnessed the power of the ocean and developed technologies that allowed them to thrive in harmony with the sea. "The storm was a test," Leora explained. Those who survive it are considered worthy of knowing our secrets. But beware, for not all who come here are pure of heart. The crew listened intently, their minds racing with questions. What secrets did this ancient city hold? And what trials lay ahead for them in this mysterious underwater world? Chapter 4: Secrets of the Civilization. The crew of the Sea Voyagers sat in awe as Leora continued to share the rich history and culture of Aquarian. The elder's melodic voice painted vivid pictures of a civilization that had flourished beneath the waves for millennia, hidden from the eyes of the surface world. Aquarian was founded by our ancestors, who sought refuge from the turmoil of the surface, Leora began. They discovered the power of the ocean and developed technologies that allowed them to live in harmony with it. Our city is sustained by the energy of the deep currents and the bioluminescent flora that you have seen. Maria, always the engineer, leaned forward with keen interest. What kind of technologies? How do you harness the ocean's energy? Leora smiled, appreciating her curiosity. Come, I will show you. The crew followed Leora through the city, marveling at the intricate architecture and the serene beauty of their surroundings. The streets were paved with a smooth, glowing material, and the buildings seemed to blend seamlessly with the natural rock formations. They arrived at a large, domed structure adorned with intricate carvings and glowing crystals. This is our Hall of Knowledge, Leora explained. Here, we preserve the wisdom of our ancestors and continue to advance our understanding of the world. Inside, the hall was filled with ancient scrolls, holographic displays, and complex machinery. Leora guided them to a central chamber where a large, pulsating crystal stood, surrounded by conduits that seemed to draw energy from it. This crystal is the heart of our city, Leora said. It harnesses the geothermal energy from the ocean floor, providing us with a limitless source of power. Our ancestors discovered this technology and refined it over generations. Maria examined the crystal with awe. This is incredible. It's a perfect fusion of nature and technology. Ethan, equally fascinated, added, it's like nothing we've ever seen on the surface. Your civilization is remarkable. Leora nodded. We have strived to live in harmony with the ocean, rather than exploiting it. But our way of life has not been without challenges. As they continued their tour, Leora revealed more about the city's history. They learned of the early struggles of the Aquarians to adapt to life underwater, the development of their advanced biotechnology, and the creation of their unique social structure, which emphasized cooperation and respect for the natural world. The crew was also introduced to some of the city's inhabitants, who welcomed them with curiosity and warmth. They met scholars, engineers, and artisans, each contributing to the city's prosperity in their own way. The Aquarians' way of life was deeply interconnected, with each individual playing a vital role in the community. As the day wore on, Leora led them to a grand hall where a council of elders awaited. The council was composed of wise and experienced leaders who governed the city and ensured the well-being of its people. Council, these are our guests from the surface world, Leora announced. They have passed through the storm and have come to learn about our ways. The council members regarded the crew with a mixture of curiosity and caution. An elder with a stern expression spoke first. We welcome you, but we must be cautious. The surface world has often brought conflict and destruction. Captain Hayes stepped forward respectfully. We understand your concerns. We come in peace and seek only to learn and share knowledge. Our world above is troubled, but there are many who strive for harmony, just as you do. The council members conferred among themselves before the stern elder nodded. Very well. We will allow you to stay and learn, but you must also share your knowledge with us. Perhaps together, we can find a path to mutual understanding. Over the next few days, the crew immersed themselves in the life of Aquarian. They participated in daily activities, learned about the city's technologies, and shared their own knowledge of the surface world. The cultural exchange was enriching for both sides, fostering a sense of kinship and mutual respect. However, amidst the harmony, there were undercurrents of tension. Some of the Aquarians were wary of the newcomers, fearing that their presence might disrupt the delicate balance of their society. These fears were compounded by strange occurrences that began to unsettle the city. Mysterious tremors shook the ground, and whispers of ancient prophecies circulated among the people. The crew could sense the unease growing, and Captain Hayes knew that their journey was far from over. They had uncovered the secrets of Aquarian, but the true test was yet to come. As they stood on the brink of new discoveries, the crew couldn't shake the feeling that the depths held more than just ancient wisdom. Darker forces were at play, and they would need all their courage and resourcefulness to face the challenges ahead. Chapter 5: Unbelievable Events. The days passed quickly in Aquarian, but the sense of unease among the crew of the Sea Voyager only grew. The mysterious tremors continued, each one more intense than the last, shaking the underwater city to its core. The inhabitants of Aquarian, once welcoming and curious, now appeared anxious and fearful. Captain Hayes gathered his crew in a quiet corner of the city. "We need to find out what's causing these tremors," he said, his voice low but determined. "There's something happening here that we don't understand." Sam nodded. "I agree, Captain. We need more information. Leora might know more than they're telling us." Maria, always practical, added, "We should also check our ship and equipment. If we need to leave in a hurry, we must be ready." The crew split up, each member taking on a different task. Captain Hayes and Sam went to speak with Leora, while Maria and Ethan returned to the Sea Voyager to conduct a thorough check. In the central hall, Hayes and Sam found Leora deep in conversation with the council. The elder looked troubled, their normally calm demeanor strained. When they saw the captain and first mate approaching, Leora excused themselves from the meeting and greeted them. "Captain Hayes, Sam, I sense you have questions," Leora said, their voice tinged with worry. Hayes got straight to the point. "Leora, these tremors are getting worse. We need to know what's causing them. Is there something you're not telling us?" Leora hesitated, then nodded. "There is a legend, an old prophecy, that speaks of a great upheaval. It foretells of a time when the balance of our world is disrupted, and the city faces a grave danger. We had hoped it was just a myth, but the tremors suggest otherwise." Sam frowned. "What kind of danger are we talking about?" Leora led them to a chamber lined with ancient scrolls and carvings. "The prophecy speaks of a guardian, a powerful entity that protects the city. But if the guardian is disturbed or angered, it could spell disaster for all of us." Captain Hayes exchanged a glance with Sam. "How can we help? There must be something we can do to prevent this." Leora sighed. "We have been trying to understand the prophecy for generations. The guardian is said to reside in the depths, in a cavern beneath the city. If you are willing, we could explore this cavern together and see if we can appease the guardian." Meanwhile, Maria and Ethan were busy inspecting the Sea Voyager. The ship had sustained significant damage during the storm, but Maria was confident they could make the necessary repairs. As they worked, Ethan couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. "Maria, do you feel that?" he asked, looking around nervously. Maria paused, wiping her hands on a rag. "Feel what?" "Like we're not alone. Ever since we got here, I've had this creeping sensation, like someone's watching us." Maria glanced around, her expression serious. "Let's finish up here and head back to the city. We need to stick together." As they made their way back to the central hall, they encountered a group of Aquarian citizens, their faces pale and eyes wide with fear. One of them, a young woman named Nira, approached Maria and Ethan. "Please, you must help us," Nira pleaded. "The tremors are getting worse, and we fear the guardian is angry. We don't know what to do." Ethan put a comforting hand on her shoulder. "We're doing everything we can. Captain Hayes is talking to Leora now. We'll find a way to stop this." Nira nodded, her eyes filled with hope and desperation. "Thank you. Please hurry." Back in the central hall, Captain Hayes, Sam, and Leora finalized their plans. They would venture into the cavern beneath the city, hoping to find the guardian and calm its rage. The crew reunited, sharing what they had learned and preparing for the dangerous journey ahead. Equipped with diving gear and guided by Leora, the crew descended into the dark, cold depths beneath Aquarian. The path was treacherous, the water pressure increasing with every meter they descended. Bioluminescent plants provided a faint, eerie light as they moved deeper into the cavern. After what felt like hours, they reached a massive underwater chamber. In the center, a colossal figure loomed, a creature of myth and legend, its form both majestic and terrifying. The guardian of Aquarian. The Guardian's eyes glowed with an intense, otherworldly light as it regarded the intruders. The water around it vibrated with a deep, resonant hum, echoing the tremors that had shaken the city. Leora stepped forward, raising their hands in a gesture of peace. "Great Guardian, we seek to understand your anger. Please, tell us how we can restore harmony." For a moment, there was only silence. Then, a voice resonated through their minds, ancient and powerful. "The balance has been disrupted. The city above grows too bold, encroaching on sacred grounds. To restore peace, you must withdraw and respect the boundaries." The crew exchanged glances. They had found the source of the tremors and the reason for the Guardian's anger. Now, they had to find a way to honor its demands without dooming the people of Aquarian. As they began their ascent, the weight of their discovery pressed heavily upon them. The survival of an entire civilization depended on their next moves. The mysteries of the deep had revealed themselves, but with them came responsibilities and dangers they had yet to fully understand. Chapter 6: Escape and Survival. The revelation of the Guardian's message weighed heavily on the crew as they ascended back to Aquarian. The ancient being had made its demands clear, and now it was up to the crew and the city's leaders to find a solution that would restore balance without sacrificing their way of life. As they emerged from the depths, Leora led them back to the central hall where the council awaited. The elders listened intently as the crew recounted their encounter with the Guardian and its warning. The stern elder, who had been skeptical from the start, looked grim. "We have lived here for generations, always mindful of the Guardian's domain. If we have overstepped, we must make amends." Captain Hayes stepped forward. "We need to work together to find a way to appease the Guardian and ensure the safety of your people. What can we do to respect its boundaries?" Leora considered this. "The Guardian's domain lies beneath the city. We must cease all activities that disturb the area and relocate any structures or operations that encroach upon its territory. This will be difficult, but it is necessary." Maria, ever the problem solver, spoke up. "We can help with the relocation efforts. Our ship has equipment that can assist in moving structures and resources. It will be a temporary solution, but it might buy us the time we need to figure out a more permanent arrangement." The council members exchanged glances, then nodded in agreement. "We appreciate your offer," Leora said. "Let us begin at once." The next few days were a flurry of activity. The crew of the Sea Voyager worked tirelessly alongside the people of Aquarian, relocating critical structures and ceasing any activities that could disturb the Guardian's domain. The collaboration between surface dwellers and the underwater inhabitants fostered a sense of unity and mutual respect. Despite their efforts, the tremors continued intermittently, a constant reminder of the urgency of their task. As the days wore on, tensions grew, and the crew knew that their time was running out. One evening, as they took a brief respite from their work, Captain Hayes gathered his crew. "We need a long-term solution. Moving structures is a temporary fix, but it won't solve the underlying issue." Sam nodded. The Guardian's warning was clear. "We need to respect its boundaries permanently. Maybe there's a way to create a buffer zone, a protected area that no one can enter." Ethan, who had been studying the city's history and the Guardian's lore, added, "There might be a way to communicate more deeply with the Guardian, to understand its needs better. If we can find a way to establish a direct line of communication, we might be able to negotiate a more stable arrangement." Lily, always the optimist, suggested, "What if we use our technology to enhance the city's natural defenses? Create barriers that protect both the Guardian's domain and the city itself?" The crew spent the night brainstorming and developing a plan. By morning, they had a rough outline of a strategy that combined technology, diplomacy, and respect for the ancient traditions of Aquarian. With renewed determination, they presented their plan to Leora and the council. The elders listened carefully, their expressions slowly shifting from skepticism to cautious hope. "This plan is ambitious," Leora said. "But it may be our best chance. We must act swiftly." The following days saw the implementation of their strategy. Using advanced equipment from the Sea Voyager, they constructed barriers and protective zones around the Guardian's domain. Simultaneously, Ethan and a group of Aquarian scholars delved deeper into the city's ancient texts, seeking any clues that could help them communicate more effectively with the Guardian. As the final elements of their plan were put into place, the tremors began to subside. The Guardian's presence, once a looming threat, seemed to recede, and a sense of calm began to settle over the city. One night, as the crew and the people of Aquarian gathered in the central plaza, Leora addressed them. "We have faced great challenges, but through cooperation and respect, we have found a path forward. Our new friends from the surface have shown us that unity and understanding can bridge even the deepest divides." Captain Hayes stepped forward. "This experience has taught us all a great deal. We are honored to have been part of your world and to have helped in preserving it." As the crowd dispersed, the crew of the Sea Voyager prepared for their departure. Their mission had been fulfilled, but the bonds they had formed with the people of Aquarian would remain. The next morning, with the ship ready and the crew aboard, Captain Hayes gave the order to set sail. As the Sea Voyager ascended to the surface, they looked back at the glowing city beneath the waves, a testament to the power of unity and the enduring mysteries of the deep. Chapter 7, Conclusion and Return. The Sea Voyager ascended through the clear blue waters, leaving behind the enigmatic glow of Aquarian. As the ship broke the surface, the crew was met with the familiar sight of the open ocean stretching endlessly around them. The sky was clear, and the sun shone brightly, a stark contrast to the dark depths they had just emerged from. Captain Hayes stood on the deck, his eyes reflecting both relief and a sense of accomplishment. "We did it," he said quietly, more to himself than to anyone else. Sam joined him, clapping a hand on his shoulder. "We sure did, Captain. It was touch and go for a while, but we made it through." The crew gathered on the deck, taking a moment to breathe in the fresh sea air and reflect on their incredible journey. Maria, Ethan, and Lily shared smiles and words of gratitude, their bonds stronger than ever after facing such extraordinary challenges together. Ethan spoke up, breaking the silence. "Aquarian and its people have given us a lot to think about. Their way of life, their technology, there's so much we can learn from them." Maria nodded. "And we've shown them that the surface world isn't just about conflict and destruction. We've built a bridge of understanding and cooperation." Lily, ever the optimist, added, "Who knows? Maybe one day, there will be more exchanges between our worlds. We've opened the door to possibilities we couldn't have imagined before." As they sailed back towards familiar waters, the crew couldn't help but feel a sense of pride and fulfillment. They had faced the unknown, uncovered ancient mysteries, and emerged not only unscathed but enriched by the experience. Upon returning to their home port, the Sea Voyager was met with cheers and celebration. News of their incredible journey had spread, and the townspeople were eager to hear every detail. Captain Hayes and his crew were invited to share their story with the scientific community, recounting their encounters with the underwater civilization and the majestic guardian that protected it. Their tales captivated audiences, sparking a renewed interest in the mysteries of the deep and the potential for peaceful coexistence with unknown worlds. In the following months, the crew settled back into their routines, but the memories of Aquarian lingered. They kept in touch with Leora and the people of Aquarian through the occasional exchange of messages and data, continuing to build on the relationship they had forged. Captain Hayes often found himself gazing out at the horizon, his thoughts drifting back to the city beneath the waves. The journey had changed him, deepening his respect for the ocean and its hidden wonders. One evening, as the sun set over the harbor, Sam approached the captain, a thoughtful expression on his face. "You know, Captain, I think we've only scratched the surface. There's so much more out there, just waiting to be discovered." Hayes smiled, a glint of excitement in his eyes. "You're right, Sam. The sea still holds many secrets, and we're just the ones to uncover them." With renewed purpose, the crew of the Sea Voyager prepared for the next adventure, ready to face whatever challenges and discoveries lay ahead. The deep had revealed its secrets, and now, with the knowledge and experience they had gained, they were more prepared than ever to continue their explorations. The bond they shared and the lessons they had learned would guide them as they navigated the vast and mysterious ocean, ever curious and ever brave. Their journey with Aquarian had ended, but their quest for knowledge and adventure was far from over. And so, the Sea Voyager set sail once more, disappearing into the horizon, carrying with it the promise of new discoveries and the enduring spirit of exploration.